Suffering with chronic to severe eczema from head to toe has to be one of the most painful experiences of my life. It not only affects how it shows up on your skin physically, but mentally and emotionally. And not only that, but it also does affect your confidence too. I lost sleep, I lost peace, and I lost a part of myself in the constant loop of trying to figure out how to manage my painful symptoms. But then I made a decision that a lot of people in the eczema community would disagree with, but it ended up giving me part of my life back. This experience is super close to my heart because it's my own personal testimony with and without Dupixent. I'm sharing this because I wish that somebody had shared their story when I needed it the most, because it was one of the tools that actually helped me completely change my life. I know how it feels to live in uncomfortable skin, and with this video, I hope to help as many people as possible with my story. So before we get into anything, I want to give you context because I know that context is everything. So I've had eczema all my life, and I thought I would grow out of it, but when I got older, I slowly realized that it was only getting worse. So I've tried basically everything. I've tried all the diets, I've tried topical steroids, protopics, trying to figure out my triggers and trying to live a healthy lifestyle, but I realized that nothing worked long term. So I was experiencing all this while working a stressful job, and the jobs that I've always had to cover my skin because I would be working in front of customers and I didn't want them to think anything of me. And at this time, I stopped using topical steroids around 2020. I was learning how to manage my skin without steroids or anything to help my skin. I thought I could just do it on my own because of what I was hearing online and the whole holistic movement and stuff like that. I worked so hard to try to upkeep a healthy lifestyle, but as soon as I moved, I swear everything went to shambles. Nothing worked. I was like, okay, let me try some baths. Let me try eating healthy. And it's like, no, girl, you need something more. I'm like, I swear, I'm trying everything. And it was just a mess. So because nothing was working, and the nature of my job at the time, I was having constant infections, like staph infections. And at the time, my doctor was like, okay, we can't keep prescribing you antibiotics because that's not healthy. So we need to try something new. And I was like, oh, okay, fine, what do you got? So that's when they told me to look into something other than what I've been trying. And that's when I looked into Dupixent. So let me tell you about what Dupixent is in plain language. So Dupixent is not a steroid, it's a biologic, which means it works with your immune system instead of just suppressing everything underneath the surface. It targets part of the immune response that is overreacting and triggering your eczema. So that's pretty much the simple version of what this thing does to your body. So why is this different than a steroid, and why did I take this rather than the topical steroids that I've always been taking? So I've experienced topical steroid withdrawal in 2020, and ever since then, I've been emotionally, physically, and everything scarred from that experience. If you know, you know. So I wanted to have something that I wasn't going to be dependent on and was going to give me that same effect of the withdrawal experience that the topicals did. That really mattered to me because I did not want to go through what I did with TSW again, ever again. No. And I clearly expressed that to my dermatologist, and she was like, I promise you, this is not what you think it is. It is a much better alternative than what we've had for previous years. And I'm like, are you sure about that? What made me feel ready to take the step into trying the biologic was a lot of things. A lot of things had to come full circle in order for me to be like, yes, let's try this. But it took me years to get to that point. But I just want to let you know that I did not give up on my holistic healing journey. It's still a part of me and my current routine of what I do on a daily basis. But at the same time, I knew that at that point, when I was trying everything and nothing was working, I needed something to help me. I knew that The state of where my skin was at that time was something that was completely out of my control. Like, I had no control over whether my skin would heal or if it would flare up or like the whole infection cycle. And I was so scared of getting sepsis at this time as well. Okay, before we go a little deeper, let me answer the questions I already know is in your head. Because when I was researching this, I could not find anybody who could answer these questions in the way that I needed it to be answered. So let's get into it. So what is the process of getting on this medication? I started by going to the dermatologist, which she ended up helping to evaluate my skin, see if I was a candidate for the drug. And because of the severity of my skin, I was approved for it almost immediately. Dupixent actually cost around $3,000 without insurance. But something that they do offer is the Dupixent copay My Way card. The My Way card actually helps cover the cost completely, so I didn't have to pay anything out of pocket. Finding a doctor that you trust is very important. You want somebody that is patient, explores different options with you, and that listens to you about whatever concerns that you have at that time. So with Dupixent, they actually have two options. They have the pen and then they have the syringe. My sister, she had used the syringe, which she did express was less painful than the pen, only because the pen releases the medicine at a much faster rate, while the syringe, you can control the rate of how fast the medicine is like administered into your body, if that makes sense. And another question is, does this hurt? Honestly, this is something that is prescribed for babies up to 6 months old, which is crazy to me. Oh my gosh, 6 months? That's crazy. And I have to think about that every single time I'm taking this pen, because I'm like, if a 6-month-old can take this, I would give it a 3 out of 5 on the pain scale. That's how bad this thing hurts. I take it in my thigh. Personally, I've done it only on my legs, and I alternate it every 2 weeks, so it's right or left. And I don't like needles. That was another factor for me of whether I should take it or not, because I was terrified of needles. I've always been terrified of needles. As much as I hate needles, I'm gonna get over this fear because I want my peace. I want my peace more. I'm more terrified of flare-ups and infections, so I had to choose my pain. I'm like, should I have the pain from the pen or do I want the pain from eczema? Which one? Because this one only lasts 30 seconds, right? So does this hurt? I would say yes. That's how I got over the thought of it, especially since knowing that babies up to 6 months is taking this medicine. I'm like, well, if the babies can do it, I think I can do it, right? Yeah, I think that makes sense. So, babies can do it, I can do it. Also, giving up is not an option for me. If I'm committed to something, I'm gonna go full throttle into that. So, a $3,000 pen, I am not gonna waste this. Absolutely not. That is not an option. So what I do to help with the pain and the burning of this pen is I usually leave it out for 30 minutes outside of the fridge before I take the medicine. Sometimes I leave it like 45 just to be safe. And also what you can do is you can put an ice pack on the injection site so that it kind of numbs the skin so you don't really feel it when it's going in. I'm going to give you like a timeline of how long did I wait to see a change in the medicine and my body. I've started my Dupixent journey in December 2025 and now it's June. So it's been around 7 months. So from month 1 through 4, I've experienced the facial flare-ups, the redness, the shedding. All this is just my skin adjusting to the medication. And you could just, my skin was, I probably will put pictures here. You can see like there's just splotches everywhere. And I thought that this was not working for me. I thought I was getting an allergic reaction. But I did call up the Dupixent people and I did speak to a pharmacist and as well as my dermatologist. I went back and forth between the two and I'm like, is this working? And they're like, yes, just let it cook. Basically let it cook, because you know, it just needs time for your body to understand what's going on and adjust, which I had to be patient with. So month 4 through 7, I realized that I gotta do a little bit more work. Like this Dupixent thing, it's working. Like my skin was soft, my skin was shedding, like it was shedding off the old skin and then it was becoming new again. So I still had to pay attention to my skincare, my stress levels, and my overall health around this as well. So can you get flare-ups while on Dupixent? Yes. I still get flare-ups when I am under a lot of stress, and I'm honestly grateful that I'm actually allowed to see what's going on in my body, because my skin still shows up as red. It doesn't get to the point where I'm getting like infection that is not manageable. All the flare-ups while I'm on Dupixent have been manageable, and I haven't been like spiraling, which is great. So what changed was like the intensity of the flare-ups and the frequency of how much I get them. So flare-ups became something that I could manage on my own instead of the flare-ups managing me in my life, which is a blessing, to be honest. So I know a lot of you might be thinking to yourself, Amelia, why did it take so long for you to try Dupixent if you were in so much pain to begin with? Well, let me tell you. So I have an identical twin sister, and we literally are the same person. It's actually crazy. And she started to use Dupixent in 2018. Before I even thought of considering to use it. My eczema was okay, but hers at the time was actually out of control, so the dermatologist recommended it for her. So I wasn't on Dupixent, but I was watching her from the outside and seeing what she was going through with it. Dupixent was actually working well with her skin at the time, but then she stopped using it. Not because it stopped working for her, but because of what she was hearing online. I promise you, the fears in those communities are real, but it got to her. So she stopped using Dupixent cold turkey. And I completely understand the fears and the different opinions inside the communities, because I've had those same fears and we both share them together. Why did I start using Dupixent 8 years later after seeing what she's been through? I saw that she was carrying doubt using Dupixent because of what she heard in the communities, but for me, I wanted to carry a decision for myself. And that decision was extremely hard for me to make because I didn't feel like leaving her behind. I had to be at peace with making that decision because that's what I needed to feel better, quality of life that I wanted to have. So we had literally the same genetics, we were on the same drug, we had different relationships with ourselves going into it. And I want you to know that your healing does not live in the medication alone. It lives with the trust you bring with yourself when you're taking it. So I want to be honest with you. Dupixent is not a cure. It is not. It is not something I think I'm going to be on forever just because it works right now. It is a tool. This is a tool. It's a tool of a much bigger practice I am learning to live in harmony with my body. I know what some of you might be thinking. To the person in the comments who might say, oh, you need to find the root cause instead of treating symptoms with big pharma, which I completely understand and hear you. But I want to be honest with you because I thought about this for the past few years. From 2022 through 2025, I was not on anything. So finding the root cause is important. I promise you it's way more complex than people make it sound. It literally takes so much time, effort, and consistency. And that means that you have to worry about your diet, how much sleep you're getting, your triggers, and your overall health in general. There is nothing wrong with using treatments to improve the quality of your life while you do the deeper work. And some things like genetics can be completely out of your control as well. So if you have the means to explore the root cause, then you're more than welcome to do so. But there is no shame in trying to manage the symptoms along the way while you try to figure things out for yourself. With Dupixent, it gave my skin enough peace to actually do the deeper work. Sometimes your body needs to stop being in crisis so it can actually start to truly heal. And that is not weakness. That is wisdom. And once I realized that, my nervous system completely shifted and I finally feel safe, and I was able to even do deeper healing with that decision. So here's what I'm gonna leave you with. I'm not telling you to take Dupixent. This is a decision for you and your doctor to have on your own terms. What I am going to tell you though is that you are allowed to have relief. You are allowed to choose something that works for your body and your life right now, even if it doesn't look like what somebody else chooses for themselves. Your healing journey belongs to you. That part has always been true. The peace that you're looking for is not on the other side of somebody else's approval. It's waiting on the other side of your own decision. Choose the peace that you deserve. Give yourself the tools to build a life full of love, healing, and without regret. And if you're not ready for that part yet, that's also okay. Healing does not have a deadline, and you can start whenever the time is ready for you. One more important note, if you are struggling with your skin, please don't let your skin determine your worth and how you see yourself. That is not the first thing that people see when they approach you. They notice your personality and your character more than how you look. If this gave you even a little bit of peace today, then subscribe. I make videos for women who are healing, and there is so much more coming. Share this with somebody who you know needs to hear this. And if you would like some space to track your healing journey, my Notion template is linked down below. No pressure. And if you have any questions about your own healing journey, or you want to share where you're at right now, then you can drop it down in the comments below. Until then, I will see you in the next one, and have a beautiful day. Goodbye!